Kent Jemison, if you would come up, please, and introduce our speaker today. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. I have the honor of introducing our speaker, and as with most speakers, they are kind enough to send us their bio. But in the spirit of his topic, I took Mr. Williams' bio, put it into AI, and had AI rewrite it. Just wanted to give you an idea. Yeah. We have the pleasure of welcoming someone who's not only a sharp mind in marketing, but also a genuinely good human, which, let's be honest, is a rare combination these days. Chris Williams is a nationally recognized internet marketing expert and the founder of Bradenton, a digital marketing and advertising agency that helps small and mid-sized businesses grow, scale, and figure out what in the world to do with their social media accounts. Since 2011, Chris has worked with businesses in healthcare, law, home improvement, and industrial services, helping them attract the right audience and drive real results. He has a knack for decoding algorithms and understanding human behavior, which basically means he knows why we all end up watching dog videos when we're just trying to check our email. He's also a sought-after speaker on AI, branding, and marketing efficiency, or as some of us call it, getting more done without losing our minds. Outside of work, Chris is a committed community leader. He serves on nonprofit boards and personally helps feed the homeless in Manatee County because making a difference offline matters just as much online. Chris lives in Lakewood Ranch with his wife and daughter. In his free time, he enjoys golfing, boxing, and for reasons I really don't fully understand, he is cheering for the Cincinnati Bengals on a regular basis. It is, man. Please join me in giving a warm and wonderful welcome to Chris Williams.
It's not a lie. I love the Bengals. It's a hard time for me. I like to move around a lot, so I'm going to take this handheld off. Friends, I'm glad to be here with you. Good afternoon. Right around the year 2017, I bought my mother her first iPhone. It was first smartphone, I should say. It just happened to be an iPhone, so if you're an Android user, don't hate me. It just happened to be an iPhone, and I think you'll agree with me, anytime you get new technology in your hands, there's a bit of a learning curve. Would you agree? And for a little context about my mom, Mom lives back home in Cincinnati, Ohio. That's why I'm a Bengals fan, and the great state of Ohio, I should say. And Ohio. There we go. And my mother has been a member of her church longer than the church building itself has been there. That's not even a joke. As a little girl, she went to Sunday service up on the hill in what they now call the old building. And as a teenager, she helped to lay the bricks for what they now call the new building and where they have Sunday service to this day. Yeah? And on any given Sunday, Mom is one of the first people in the building handing out hugs and little pieces of candy. And she transports people to and fro that don't have transportation just to make sure that they don't miss a Sunday service. This is who my mama is. So anyway, I remember getting her this device, and she was getting comfortable with this new technology. I'm talking about some of the things that we do every day that we don't really think about, right? So talking about opening and closing apps, email, FaceTime. FaceTime's tough. And text messaging. I would send her, informative, full text messages. You know how we do. And she would write back, yes. Period. You know what I mean? Okay. period. Just very short and sweet, but I knew that she was just getting comfortable with her new tech. So anyway, that summer, my wife and I decided that we were going to take our daughter Grace over to Disney World for a kind of surprise birthday thing. Her birthday's in June, and once everything was booked and planned and official and all that stuff, I fired off a text to Mom. And I said, hey Mom, gonna take the fam over to Disney World this summer for Grace's birthday. It's a surprise, yeah? We'll take lots of pictures and it'll be lots of fun. Love you. Something to that effect, right? And my mother responded almost instantly, very quickly. And her response to me via text was all caps, and it was simply WTF.
Yeah, she's matching.
I thought, goodness gracious, lady, right? I mean, take it easy.
Yeah, exactly.
With just a little bit of context you've got about my mother, you'll agree, this is out of character, right? Like something's not right here. And so I picked up the phone, I'm chuckling a little bit, and I call her and say, Ma, why would you write something like, Ma, do you know what that acronym stands for? And what she said to me was, yes, dear.
Yeah.
She calls me dear. She said, the ladies at church have taught me that it means, well, that's fun. It's adorable, right? I didn't have the heart to break it to her back then, right? So what I told her was, I said, Mom, that is what it means, but maybe we just type it out all the way going forward. I share that story with you today because Mom and I were real close. We talk almost every week, every day. And I would bet at least once a week, one of us will be telling a story to the other, and one of us will say to the other, well, that's fun, or well, that sounds fun. Kind of thinking back to that funny memory all those years ago. And anytime I get an opportunity to speak to an audience, my goal for them, my hope for you and all of you is that you'll leave here today and you may think to yourself, or maybe even say to a colleague, well, that was fun, or well, that's fun, yeah? Friends, my name is Chris Williams, and I'm the founder and director at Agento, the digital agency, and today I am going to talk to you about artificial intelligence, AI, the good, the bad, the ugly, I guess that was the name of the movie, I'm told. And then we'll get into some tactical things, ways that you can use it to reclaim your time and become even more efficient than you already are. Specifically, I'll talk to you about ways that I'm currently using AI to make my life a little bit easier and how you can do it as well. Does that sound fun? All right, well, every good story begins where? Who said that first?
Lou.
Come here, Lou. Come here, Lou. Coffee's on me. Well done. Good job. Good job. And listen. If this is the first time you've seen me speak publicly, I come bearing gifts. So don't be shy with those answers, okay? Every story begins at the beginning. I've often heard this shift in technology, this evolution in tech that we're experiencing right now in our world. I've often heard this compared to what was experienced here in the United States when the automobile first began to be mass-produced. You remember that, Kent? Hey, I didn't write that one. Quick question. Who can tell me?
AI took over. Screen cancel.
Come on, tech.
There we go.
AI took control.
Remember back when modern technology.
Sky is this
Very
Up. In what year was the first Ford? What year did the first Ford come off the assembly line?
1903 or 6.
Come on, man. Kent's got it. 1913. Come here, bud. You were a sophomore.
I was. I'm one of the first ones.
I've often heard it that time compared to this time, and there's some similarities there. The guys who drove the horse and buggy, is that driving? They drove the horse and buggy. Well, they just started driving automobiles, right? And the carriage makers, well, they just started making cars, right? And so back then there was less of an elimination of a workforce and more of a shift in the workforce, right? Today, however, there is a real fear amongst a lot of people that AI is going to take their job. And I want to validate that. That's a real fear. Because if we look back to 1913, and I'm going to come over there and grab that iPad if you don't mind, right next to you. If we look back to 1913, and we think about the carriage makers making cars and the buggy drivers driving cars, well, how many jobs were there for horses?
True.
Probably not a lot, right? And so I want to validate that that's a real concern. I get it. I understand. And for jobs in manufacturing, logistics, transportation, that's a real concern. If a job is repetitive, if it's structured or template-based, yeah, there may be some areas where those folks are going to have to shift to new positions. But for 95% of the workforce, that's not the case. For 95% of the workforce, what we're going to see is AI making your job easier. It's not going to come take your job, but it's also not going to come do your job. And in fact, we've been using something similar to AI for quite a number of years. I'm going to try to get this clicker right. Oh, we have just called it if this then that technology, right? Meaning if this happens, then that happens. If somebody goes to a website and they fill out a job application and their preferred role is customer service, well then let's route that to the CSR manager. Sales manager doesn't need to see that. If this, then that, right? And even with, bam, I gotta be close to it, I bet that's what it is. Even with Excel, anybody here use Excel over the years? It's not just me, right? I'm not the only one looking for formulas and calculations and macros, right? Even when we were filling these things out, sometimes Clippy would pop up. You guys remember Clippy? And say, it looks like you're trying to do this. Well, yes, Clippy, I am. Thank you, right? The difference, though, as we've evolved, is back then, we had to figure out what the problem was. And we had to figure out how to solve the problem. What calculations, what formulas needed to be processed to solve that problem. And then the computer could take over and do that at scale much faster than we could do it, but we had to solve the problem first. That is not the case today. Today, AI will solve the problem. It'll figure out what calculations need to be performed, what formulas need to be executed. It'll tell you those things if you like, or it'll just do it for you and process those and execute those functions to get you to the solution. I don't want you to think about AI as coming for your job or as going to be doing your job. I want you to think of it as your high-powered assistant that never gets sleepy, that never gets tired, that doesn't have to stop for a snack like I do. It's always going to be working for you. So let's talk about some ways that you could use AI. I'm sure everybody in this room has to read long-form documents. Is that right? Is that a correct assumption? I've got leaders and professionals in front of me. AI will read and understand and consume those large form documents for you. Long gone are the days where you have to spend 20 and 30 minutes reading a long PDF, understanding it, preparing it, noting, highlighting, and things like that. It will do it for you in seconds. This frees you up to spend your time doing what you're best at. Stephen. Congrats on being a member. Kiwanis.
Absolutely, thank you.
What's one daily task you do that you wish you could just stop doing anymore?
Answering emails.
Answering emails, okay. Hey, JD. Everybody, Jacqueline Dom, our videographer. Jacqueline, could you make a note of that? Answering emails is what Steven said. We'll try to solve that later on today, okay? That sound good?
Awesome.
If you had a high-powered personal assistant, what's something you think that they would make sure that they got done for you? I'm going to give you an answer. They would make sure that you know what's on your agenda. They would help you stay focused, on time, meeting who you're supposed to meeting and when, right? Every day I get this. At 8 p.m., I get this brief on what I'm going to do tomorrow, who I need to see, what time I'm supposed to see them, how long it's going to take me, what the weather is going to look like, and what outfit I should wear. I'm just kidding about the last part. Now, could I have done this on my own? Yeah, Around 8 p.m. every day, I used to pick up my phone, look at the weather for tomorrow, look at my calendar, see who I'm seeing, figure out what time I need to be there, set my alarm about 2 or so hours before that, right? I like to get up, get a workout, have some breakfast. But now I don't have to do that. Now I don't have to do that. What did I say? 8 minutes? 10 minutes? It's not that big of a deal. But in perpetuity. You never have to figure out what's on my agenda for tomorrow or what time I need to set my alarm. Actually, it sets my alarm for me now 2 hours and 10 minutes before my first meeting, because that's how long it takes me to get ready. Well, that's fun, right? Saving that time every day. How about processing your meetings? Who here is using AI to transcribe meetings already? Couple. Wonderful. Okay. That's great. You can use things like Fireflies or Otter. It's a good one. I like to use Otter. It'll transcribe your meeting for you, prepare your notes. That's great.
I'm doing it right now.
You're doing it right now, my man. Here's one way that I use it that most people aren't thinking about. Who was sitting in the county commissioner meeting recently, 7 days ago? Anybody in that county commission? Who has sat through a county commission meeting? There we go. They're fun, aren't they? Listen, county commission meetings are important, but they take 5, 6, 7 hours. I'm the chairman of the board at the Manatee County Salvation Army, and it behooves me to know what they talk about in those meetings. Are they talking about the homeless situation? Are they talking about people at or below the poverty line? Are they talking about the Salvation Army? I need to know those things. But I own a small business, and I don't have the time to sit for 7 hours and watch those wonderfully fun meetings. So here's what I do. The meetings go onto their YouTube channel, and I automatically pull those down off of YouTube and transcribe them. And then AI goes through that and looks for themes like homelessness, like Alice, asset limited, income constrained, employed. It searches for keywords like the Salvation Army. And then it sends me a report and lets me know if it was mentioned, and if so, at what minute. It was in the 82nd minute that they mentioned the Salvation Army. Great. Let me go figure out what they said. Now I don't have to watch that entire meeting. As fun as it is, if there's any county commissioners in here.
The place is going and being and running these meetings?
I don't know if it'll be that big yet, but soon, Who here can tell me when email was first publicly made available for use? What year? Give me an answer. 86, goodness gracious. Oh.
92.
Close.
91.
1913.
No, it wasn't 1919. Any other guesses, or am I keeping this coffee? 19, who said that? Was it you? 1993 is correct. She used AI. Well done. 1993, we first began to hear You Got Mail. That was back when it sounded like we were killing the internet every time we logged on to it. You guys remember that? Probably too young. You couldn't be on the phone at the same time. Probably too young. Stephen, this might help you. AI will answer your emails. Now, I like to tell people that AI is great, but it's not perfect. So when it's answering my emails, I like to put my eyeballs on it still. So what I like to do is have it create drafts. Using a tool called Zapier. Is anybody familiar with Zapier? Okay, job one, when you get home today, zapier.com. It is a platform that connects platforms on the web without having to code anything, okay? Go to that, play with it, get comfortable. I have trained our ChatGPT bot with information from our handbook. I'm a small business owner, I got 10 employees, which means that I'm also the human resources director. Right, you understand? So when I get repetitive questions like this, like when Trey reaches out and he says, hey Chris, man, what's our policy for maternity/paternity leave? It automatically runs through ChatGPT. It has the answers because I've already uploaded our handbook, and it writes them back this response as a draft. Hey Trey, first, congrats. Second, here's a link to our policy on maternity/paternity leave. It puts that as a draft in my outbox. All I gotta do is put my eyes to it and hit send. How much time did I save? 3 minutes? Sure, but in perpetuity. forever. I never have to answer those again. If anybody is wanting to know how I created that, I'll send you this slide. I'm not going to bore you with it now, but I can't give you that information. You can also upload information to ChatGPT. So I talked about large form documents, right? That's a great example. Another one, I spoke maybe 2 months ago for Schwab, which is like the local HR association. And what I said is they could take things like exit interviews, upload their exit interviews into GPT and say, I'm going to give you these exit interviews. And I'd like you to search through them, read and understand them. And I'd like you to find themes and topics. Why are people leaving? If you go to leadership and you say, am I up against it, Louis? Okay. If you go to leadership and you say, you know what, I have a feeling that we're losing team members, employees because of a culture issue. That's a feeling. That's not impactful, it's not palpable. But if you go to HR and say, we've had 30 exit interviews in the last 6 years, and 72% cited culture around the office as the reason why they left, that's real. It's real it's real data that you can execute on and make real change, because the data tells us, here's the problem, here's the hole that we have to plug. This is the way to use AI as your hyper-powered assistant. What's one weekly task you wish you could automate?
Dishes.
Dishes? It's not going to do your dishes.
That's only one.
Yes. What's one weekly task you wish you could automate? I'll give you one, if nobody has one. Payroll. I have to go in and do payroll every pay period. Man, it would be great if it would just send me how many hours everybody worked. And AI will do that. If it will calculate all the PTO time, if it would do all of those things. When somebody asks me how many PTO hours they have left, if it would just go into the Google Sheet and pull that data, it'll do that for you. Let's keep going. Let's try to keep going. There we go. Learning and development. This is one of my favorite things. A lot of people think that AI is just ones and zeros. But in fact, it will teach you how to do things. Nick, to help you with that jump shot. I'm just messing. Nate, I'm just messing with you. I have an employee at Agento that I want to move into a director of operations role. His name's Trey, actually. I was referencing him there. Now, he's qualified and experienced and knowledgeable, but he needs to know the way that we do things. And so I simply went into AI and the ChatGPT, and I said, listen, I want to move somebody into a director of operations role. Please create a 90-day growth track for us. What does he need to learn over the next 90 days to make sure that he can step into that role comfortable and confident and successful? And it has mapped out all the things week by week that we need to learn. I want you to think about the practical applications in your life. You could use this to teach you. I got an employee that's using it to teach him how to speak Spanish. You can use it for anything. If you wanted to plan Sunday school lessons, if you homeschool your kids, if you wanted to learn this or learn that, or teach this or teach that, it will do all of those things for you. And again, it's not just ones and zeros. I have 10 employees. That's 10 different personalities. How do I better relate to Kelly? Kelly and I are going to have a one-on-one. How can I better relate to Kelly? Here are the things that Kelly cares about. How can I better speak to her and relate to her and get through to her in our one-on-one? It will give you that real tangible information. ¿Un poquito de español, Ken? Sí, poquito? That's all the Spanish that I actually know. Wait. Muy. Okay, never mind. That's all the Spanish I actually know. I got a client that is a roofer, and white guy. If you looked at him, you would not know that he spoke the most fluent Spanish you could ever imagine. And I've seen videos of him with his team out in the field, and he'll be looking at the camera and speaking in English, and he'll look at one of his guys, and he'll start speaking in fluent Spanish, and they'll laugh, and I think, oh, wow, how great of a culture he can build at his company because he speaks their language. But what about a guy like me? What about a guy like you? If I don't speak the language, how can I better relate to that person? But GPT will do that for you. It will act as a real-time translator. I've been in conversations with somebody speaking Portuguese. I think that's Spanish, just a version. Yeah, and to say, hey, I'm speaking to somebody that's Portuguese. Everything you hear in English, please repeat in Portuguese. And everything you hear in Portuguese, please repeat in English. This opens up the door for relationship building, business development, recruiting. I can now hire the best person at a position, regardless of where their background is or where they come from or what language they speak, because now I can speak that language. How powerful is that? I'm throwing a line at you. Here's the bottom line. If it's structured, if it's template-based, or if it's repetitive, AI can do the heavy lifting. It will knock out 80% of that work. Around my office, we like to call it the busy work. It will knock out that busy work and allow you to do what only humans can do. Who's got a monthly task that they'd like to get rid of? All right. I was gonna solve them right here on the stage. Listen. Huh?
Billing.
Oh, that's easy, yeah. Yeah, you take that out of billing. Write that one down. We'll solve it here in a second.
Monthly billing.
Monthly billing, yep. We'll solve that for you. Is that a train?
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
AI can't.
AI can't drive that train. Yeah, actually.
Yeah.
Actually. Listen, I do wanna just take note. We're talking about a lot of stuff. I don't wanna scare anybody that is coming after your job. But there is this real fear that people experience. You've probably heard or said things like this, right? New tech prompts questions about job displacement. Have you said that? Have you heard that? You read headlines like that? Probably. How about this one? This one's from the Lakewood Range Ledger. New safety questions arise. Have you heard questions about that? News reports about that? Security, privacy? Yeah. One more. Workforce fears a need to learn new skills. How about that one? Yeah, probably. In fact, maybe that's why some of you are here. These are real fears, and I get that. And we're here to learn about AI, and so I would submit to you that it's only human to assume that these headlines are about AI. And so it may surprise you that I pulled these very real headlines from newspaper publications that were more than 100 years old, back when the tractor was first introduced here in the United States. There it is. We said the same thing when the tractor was invented. We had the same fears, we had the same concerns. Kent was probably there, I don't know. And we got through that. And we'll get through this. It is highly unlikely that an employer will replace a competent, educated, valued employee with a hammer. It's highly unlikely. What's more likely is that that same employer may want to use technology to empower that employee to be able to swing 10 hammers at the exact same time. Who wouldn't? What I want you to do, I challenge you, when you leave here today, go home, open the laptop, open the phone, play with AI. Go to ChatGPT, go to Perplexity.ai, go to, Google's even got Gemini now, right? Go to these search engines, go to these AI engines, and just play with it. Have conversations like you would a person sitting next to you, like you would a personal assistant, and get comfortable with it. Because unlike the internet, which was a fad, that's what they told me, this isn't going anywhere. And it's going to ingrain itself in every facet of our lives. All right, friends? Friends, thank you so much for the time. I'll be here after. God bless.
Thank you, Chris.
Appreciate it.
Stick around for just a minute.
I will.
Hey, you gotta stick around up here for just a minute.
Here, I got you.
On behalf of the Bradenton Kiwanis, we'd like to present you with the coveted,
Fashion ruler.
the what? AI ruler? The old-fashioned ruler, a golden ruler to measure your future success.
Love
right.
it. Thank you so much.
Yes, sir.
I appreciate that.
We gotta
Can
get
a
this right
picture?
here.
Here we go.
Got it?
Thanks, sir. Appreciate that.
Thank you very much. Very interesting stuff. Ethics plays a huge part, right, in this whole AI. Couple things real quick. Bring candy next week. Christy reminded me for the Goblin Gathering that's coming up. So if you've got some bags of candy, please bring them next week to the meeting. Tomorrow morning, there's Helping Up Mission from the Board of Commissioners. I think Amanda Ballard, this was one of her projects. There's Helping Up Mission ribbon cutting at 10:30 a.m. tomorrow morning. I believe the bus, Judge Smith has just left, but over by Pride Park, 63rd and what's that, 7th, 9th? Anyway, you can look it up. That's it, 9th over there. But anyway, please, let's have some representatives. I've got a sales meeting, so I'm not able to do it tomorrow morning, but those of you that can come, Rita's waving her hand over there. And Rita, I apologize, I did not get you on earlier to announce our new members. I'm not going to do it now, or excuse me, our guests. But if guests today would please stand up and receive a round of applause for being here. Thank you all for doing this. So next week, what's going on? Who cares? Dr. Mullis will be taking over. I'm excited. I've appreciated that you all have allowed me to stand up here in front of the podium and help lead this group. A lot of great things have happened this last year. So I'm proud to say the wheels have not fallen off the bus. All right, they've actually gotten stronger. We are moving full speed ahead, and we'll continue that. So continue to do great things this week. Thank you very much.